I love needy. I also was the first time I got to play like really nerdy. Like wearing the glasses, and Megan got to turn into a demon, and it was awesome. We all just had a lot of fun. So I want to celebrate it by doing a sequel. But she's kind of dead, right?
She is dead, yes. So.
But is she?
I mean, she, you know.
But is she? I don't think she is. Mean Girls.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
The reason I got that role is I do give a lot of credit to this man, Dennis Steele, who passed away recently, who's a comedic director. I had already kind of found Karen with him, and it was sort of like channeling a little bit of Some Like It Hot, Marilyn Monroe, and I just held on to that so tight because I felt like that was the reason I got the role, and I didn't trust my instincts so much as having a clear idea of who I thought this person was.
You want to do something fun? You want to go to Taco Bell?
Lacey and Lindsay and I were closer in age, and we weren't locals. So Rachel is Canadian. She lived kind of nearby, and she had a life there. It's just she wasn't at the hotel, but on set it very much felt like very collaborative and safe and fun. Whereas, you know, on the weekends, we would just get up to no good. It was just kids having fun, you know, at camp.
What are you?
I'm a mouse. Duh.
I can only speak for myself about the experience of making Mean Girls, but I will say it felt like we weren't really thinking about our characters as much as enjoying the process. Just enjoying so much being where we were in a comedy with Tina. Because you're younger, it's different, it's just different.
I'm kind of psychic. I have a fifth sense. What do you mean? It's like I have ESPN or something. My breasts can always tell when it's gonna rain. Really? That's amazing. Well, they can tell when it's raining.
I think the message is so universal, and I think comedy helps us move through the world in a gentler way. It helps us express ourselves, and it helps us express frustrations, and I just think that Tina Fey just wrote such a beautiful reflection of what it's like to be a teenage girl, and I think Mean Girls is really helpful for parents and kids because we make fun of the assholes, and the good, kind kids who are trying to figure out who they are prevail. But it was just a very specific look at it, a very specific way of expressing that, what it's like to be a teenage girl. And with all the analogies that Tina Fey used, it was just, it was fun and effortless in so many ways. We were playing versions of ourselves, and we understood the world better than the crew members because we were at that age. So I don't know, it was lightning in a bottle. It will always be relevant. It stands the test of time. It's a beacon in some way. It's just, I'm proud, I love it. I love when people tell me they love Mean Girls.
I am such a good mom. I'm impressed.
And I'm Karen. Getting to play Karen again was something that I really wanted to do for so long. And kind of a mindfuck because, you know, I know she's inside of me in so many ways because I played a version of her in my own high school in order to stay out of the drama. But it was a little harder to reach, I think. The pressure of a commercial in general is a lot. We were selling products, you know, which is also kind of weird, but fun. And it was so centered around Mean Girls and the plastics grown up. But I felt like I needed to make a choice about Karen in her late 30s, and you would think it would be easy. You'd think she'd be the same person. I think she is the same person, but for whatever reason, it was a little harder to reach. But not that hard. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't mind-bending or anything, but it was a little weird. It's just weird. And there is that responsibility, too, to bring it to the fans as well, because we're making it for the fans, and we have this short amount of time to create something that a lot of people are going to see. And it was harder than I thought it was going to be, but I would love to play somebody like Karen again soon. Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Well, she's done so much for me, and she's always talking about you guys and the good old days, and I thought what an amazing surprise for her that you are all going to be at my wedding.
Hang on, Sophie. I can't be here. The last time I saw your mother, she said she never wanted to see me again.
That was years ago. Please. It would mean
a lot to me. So Mamma Mia was being turned into a movie. I had to prove so many things to so many people, and it was a long process. I was just gleefully going in every time, and I don't know, I was just joyful about the opportunity. That was it. I was just joyful. I had seen it in Vegas with my boyfriend at the time. I don't remember taking away so much of what I saw in the Broadway version of Sophie. I think it was more of an energy, having that visceral reaction to the show. It was exciting. It was just a beautiful story. And of course I wanted to be in that movie. It impacted me the way it impacts so many people. It just makes you feel incredibly grateful and excited about life. And when I left that show, I was like, oh my God, I get it. I get it. That was what I held on to because it was so fresh for me. I knew Mamma Mia was a huge hit, and I always thought it was this beautiful Greek girl on the poster. But they were just casting someone to play Meryl Streep's daughter, and I'm like, hi, me. And I'm not the best singer in the world, but I had that. Whatever I left Vegas show with, I had that. And I did see the audition tape, and you can see I was blissfully excited about the idea of it and not about getting it.
Oh, come on, we have each other.
Oh, I think we've got more than that. Take a look.
Bill and Harry! No!
Oh my God, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again was just a gift. I think everybody was just so surprised to be back on an island singing ABBA again. It's one of those moments where we just look around and we're like, wow, like look at us, we're back. I mean, for me, my life had changed probably the most out of anybody because I was so young then, and now I'm in my 30s and I have my 6-month-old baby on this Croatian island, which was very hard to live in because if you ever ran out of diapers, you have to wait for the next giant ferry to come in the next day. So it was a very different experience, but the joy was still there. It existed. It's so unadulterated. It's just pure magic that happens with this cast and with ABBA and with Bjorn and Benny and Ol Parker, who came in and had all these ideas with Richard Curtis when they were writing it. And he just understood what we all needed and what the audience needed. And that's hard to do. Ol brought so much. Like, he's such a beautiful paternal figure for so many people, and I think you have someone like him who's such a creative and such a really brilliant storyteller. You kind of almost feel like there's this sounds crazy, but a godlike presence. It's very crazy to say that. He would hate that I would say that, but he's so protective of the story and of what everybody needs, and he's so aware of making sure everybody's comfortable, and he can find the honesty in every single thing, every single moment. Even though it's a big musical movie, it's like he's good at that. He's good at taking this crazy tentpole kind of movie and humanizing it, and I think it's because we all trusted him and knew that he loves what he does and cares deeply about every single person involved. Every single person down to, my set costumer and the driver. And that's why he's a really good director, and that's why he will always work. Certainly one of a kind.
Yes, I know I don't possess you. With all my heart, God bless you. You are still my love and my love.
Everybody's standing there like watching the reunion, and it's just like, it gives me chills to think about, because this is a legacy, really. Like, all of us have this story to tell and have this thing forever to show people. And I mean, Meryl just wanted to come back. She was like, I don't know if I can. We all came back, and they were able to squeeze her back in, and she couldn't wait to get to set. Just like, that's when you know. That's when you know it's something that means something. And whenever anybody, which is all the time, comes up to me and says, I love Mamma Mia, will you sign this for me? I'm just like, yeah, gladly, because it was just an experience that I just want to have again and again. Who gets that in their career? Les Misérables.
How strange, this feeling that my life's begun at last. This change. Can people really fall in love so fast? What's the matter with you, Cosette? Have you been too much on your own?
Les Mis was an incredible movie, and oh God, I loved it. The costumes, the people, we were all really happy to be there. But I, unfortunately, was not technically ready or capable of the live singing in the way that I would have liked to be. That process was infuriating. I knew what I had to sing, but there were hard songs, and the acting part of it came naturally, and I loved it. It was very indulgent. It was beautiful to be able to like, how strange is feeling that my life's begun at last. I was also worried about my accent, but that was the least of my worries. I'm getting to sing all these things to you, and it feels so natural, but it's like, what's the matter with you, Cosette? Like, I also have to be very musical. It didn't hit the mark the way Eddie was hitting it, the way Samantha Barks is, she's like miles better than all of us, technically. Annie Hathaway, like, even when she's like crying and taking him at the end, it's just like, it was perfect. It was perfect. It's what made that movie fucking fly. And I was lacking. I was lacking in a way that I really wish I hadn't been, and that's a regret I have. And everybody's like, you're crazy, but I'm not. I know what I would have liked to sound like. I would have liked to sound like I sound now. Veronica Mars.
God, Lily, I see the Prozac's working.
High on life, Veronica Mars. I've got a secret. A good one.
Girls, less talk, more scrub.
Later.
Veronica Mars was so interesting because I had just turned 18. I was doing Big Love and Veronica Mars at the same time. I was very lucky to have gotten pilots that first season. I worked my ass off, not saying it wasn't like somewhat earned, but I was lucky. I remember like just driving down to San Diego from LA by myself in the Marriott, coming to set, hanging out. And again, I'm 18, so I'm just having fun. Meeting great people. Kristen and I like had a great time. Like, she was excited to be in the show. We were all on location in San Diego, and we had great showrunners, and Kristen had her dog, and there was like a scene with cake, and I remember like eating the cake. I can't recall the first thing I ever shot. Oh, I know what it was. Lilly Kane was thrown in a pool to drown. But that's not how she died. They cut it. So the first scene, it was by myself in a pool with contacts, and they were like, stop blowing bubbles out your nose. And I'm like, I'm trying really hard not to, but even when I'm holding my nose, bubbles can't help but come out. I'm like, I didn't know. It was very surreal. And the first time I'd ever died, on screen, and then they cut it and they turned it around and turned it into like a head trauma. I knew she was the one who had died and that the death she was trying to investigate, her best friend. But I didn't know how beloved she would be, how iconic she would be. I mean, looking back, the writing was there. It was all flashbacks, of course, and it was just like, Veronica, she was the one that was lost. Like, she was never missing, but I can understand now. I think we understood that she had a hole in her heart and was a really great job to have with really great actors. Really great people came in and out of that show. Twin Peaks.
And I'll get you some bread.
Why?
Because I heard you've been eating it all day.
David Lynch was not just a wacky savant. He wasn't just unapologetic about his vision, unafraid to go into the darkness. He was also like the nicest man. He was everything good and everything really, really, really warm and wonderful about Hollywood and filmmaking. You won't ever hear anything else. And working with him was just like, what would you like, sir? What can I do you for? And he was joyful about giving you the direction, even if you were doing it completely wrong. He was just very excited about where you were going to take this character, because he wrote it, he knew what he wanted, but he was also like very excited to see how you would do it. It's a full collaboration.
Becky, what's going on? I hate him. Becky! I hate him. What happened? I hate him. Becky! Becky! Open! Becky, don't! Becky, stop! Becky!
I wanted to give him everything he deserved. But when I did do something that really excited him, it excited me too. Because then I kind of knew I'd hit something that he was looking for. I was very warm. It's so funny, I'm always like, Daddy? Not really, to anybody. I've never called a director Daddy, but that's how I feel. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I want to please. I just want to please, you know? And I want to please myself now. And I got to do both of that in Twin Peaks because it was just so singular. Mank.
I know you.
Well, what's at stake here?
We met at John Gilbert's birthday. You're Herman Mankiewicz.
Guilty. And I remember you, Miss Davies, regaling us with stories about dodging trolley cars in Brooklyn. Your Flatbush was showing.
David likes to rehearse on set for a full day before we film. In no way is that luxury something that I take for granted because it just doesn't happen anymore. No one has that kind of money or time to have this space to explore. That's what makes his work so wonderful. And these are really long scenes with some insane monologues. And so we need every minute that we can get together on the set, knowing how our bodies feel on the concrete, how we're going to move around each other, around the fountain, how we're going to see the CGI animals and what the bench looks like, and become comfortable with your surroundings. We never get that. For Mank, we all were together a lot. All the actors came together a lot to rehearse these scenes on set days before shooting. Dave Fincher's doesn't mince words. He's very clear as to what he wants, and he's also very patient. Patience is also really hard to find in a director, but all the good directors are. They're very patient. And so, although I thought, what am I doing in this movie? I do not belong here. I'm too contemporary. I don't know who this woman is, even though I read everything I could read on Marion Davies. We had somebody whose sole job was to unearth old recordings and information about all these characters. I did listen to scratchy recordings of Marion Davies. I did work on my Flatbush accent, which comes a lot easier than Manchester, I'll tell you that much.
Hello, Tokyo? London, you there? Ah, nerds.
What is that?
Ah, Pops' radio phones. Never ever be out of touch with your empire.
No, what's nerds?
Nerds is Brooklynese for nuts.
The physicality of Marion would not have happened without all the time I got to spend with her before we rolled. You got to live in it for a long time in order to feel like it's second nature. You're not thinking about it because there's so much of these characters that you need them to be second nature, but you don't have enough time, and so you're constantly thinking of juggling like 8 things before the director even brings you notes. In a way, we're very prepared for these moments of having too much to think about. But it's always too much to think about, and it would be nice if there was less. What you get in a David Fincher movie, or what at least I feel like I got, was another chance, always another chance, because 99% of the time I walk away from a scene and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do that again. I really don't want to do it again, but I bet I could have done that better. I got everything I needed to get, and he got everything he needed to get, and we could all go to sleep at night. Like, we fucking did it. And after that first bonfire scene, I definitely walked away feeling like, I don't know who this person is yet. I'm struggling here. My sister was having a baby that day. I was present, but I was insecure. And when I found out we were shooting it again, I was like, oh God, what? How long is that gonna take? And then I was like, oh my God, I could make this the best scene in the movie for me. And I did, because we were there for another 3 days, and I was pregnant with my other kid, and there was a smoke, and I was smoke. It was just like, it could have been madness, but it was joy. And we were just there all day, and the next day, and the next day, and it was cold in the morning and warm at night. We were making movies like the way they used to make movies, and it was just so iconic in my mind. And I knew how to say that line. Your Flatbush is showing, he says to me. And I was like, Mr. Mankiewicz, I need a ciggy boo.
I'm being burned at the stake, and I am dying for a ciggy boo.
Like, it was just so, it was her. I like fully got it. There's no way I would have ever felt that any of that validation and that credit was earned if we had 7 takes to do it. Because I wouldn't have done that hard work, because I'm not built that way. I'm lazy. I am. Like, I know I'm not, I do good work, and I do get to where I need to do, and I work my ass off. But David asks you to work your ass off to the 10th power, and that is why, I do it again. It's hard work, though. First Reformed.
Explosives?
It's a suicide vest. And there's other elements in there, too. There's batteries and, detonators and tubes of jelly. You know, he'd been working in the garage lately, and he said he was fixing a motor, and I didn't question him because I was just happy that he was doing something that made him happy.
But you had no idea that he was thinking of...
No suspicions, nothing like this.
People say, God, I love First Reformed. And I say, oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a really good movie. Because I wasn't in it, to me. Was I nearly there in every scene? Yeah, but I didn't have enough time, and I was so obsessed with Paul and so happy to be doing it and so incredibly pregnant that I was split. When I think back to shooting that, I have some regrets. But I also learned a lot, and I also think that we did great work, and I was there, and I was good, but I do think that I could have mined it more, and I could have been more present. I really do. I don't think Paul would agree with me, and I know Ethan wouldn't agree with me, but there was something else inside of me that was taking my attention, and that was the performance that I gave on those days, and that's okay, because I'm never gonna just throw up all over something. I've got an engine that I utilize whenever I'm acting, but I needed to go to the shop, I think. And that's how I feel about that movie. But that movie's genius. That movie is Ethan Hawke's best work by far. It is raw and terrifying and oh so weird. It was a joy in so many ways. It was just a joy to be a part of. I mean, I cannot believe I can put that on my resume. But it was all Ethan. Jennifer's body.
Are you PMSing or something?
PMS isn't real, Needy. It was invented by the boy-run media to make us seem crazy. Don't look at me like that. It's just wearing off or something.
What's wearing off?
I can't critique this movie. It's to me, a perfect movie. It's got balls. Diablo Cody was outspoken and beautiful and smart and funny, and we were expressing a certain angst in a very, very specific comedic way, in a very specific genre. God, the special effects were so incredible. There was stunts. There was like everything that you could want. I mean, girl-on-girl action.
You killed my fucking boyfriend! You goddamn monster! You son of a bitch!
And if the critics criticized anything, it would be the marketing. The marketing sucked. It just did, and we all agree. Karen is like a fierce advocate of women in storytelling. She is able to enhance the relationships between women on film and TV. She's able to mine everything she can, and she's very, very human, and she's very sensitive. But I felt like she cared deeply about this story underneath all of it. She just got it all, and she put it together so beautifully, and the marketing team cheapened it like it was just, you know, a romp, a gory romp. I think they ruined it, and I think that Karen and Diablo are a really good team, and Megan and I are a really good team. You know, I'm looking forward to the sequel. They're working on it. I already said thumbs up. I was like, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. Because I want to play Needy. I love Needy. I also was the first time I got to play like really nerdy. And Megan got to turn into a fucking demon. And it was awesome. We all just had a lot of fun. So I want to celebrate it by doing a sequel. I just want to see Needy in a power position. Not necessarily in a power suit, but in a power position. You know, maybe she runs her branch of Planned Parenthood or something. She's a badass. And I don't know, where would Megan be? She's probably like somebody's chief of staff. But she's kind of dead, right?
She is dead, yes. So.
But is she?
I mean, she, you know.
But is she? I don't think she is. Big love.
Scott?
What?
I have something to confess. I'm not the you. I'm at Kimura High School in Sandy.
How old are you, really?
18. I'm 18. Everything else is true. Me, Sarah, my 3 moms. Don't hate me. 10 years older isn't that big a deal.
Big Love was just me playing myself. It was like me playing the repressed version of myself. It was like almost like an acting class. I was acting with all these different types of actors with different processes, and I learned a lot. I was just a sponge on that show. Sarah Henrickson was a sponge, and I was a sponge, and I thought less about the process of my acting and more about learning how to access certain parts of myself. I think we all feel the same way about that show. I wasn't alone in learning things. And Aaron Paul, my God, it was just really wonderful.
Will you marry me?
Are you serious?
I was 18 years old when I got that show. I was developing my skills as an actor and as my skills as a social being on a film set, and I was learning and making friends, and it was my college. And watching like people work together and like the drama, the tension, it was never ugly. It was just fascinating. It was awesome. I know there was an issue with me possibly trying to do this giant superhero movie with a bunch of girls, and I knew that I wasn't really allowed to. It forced me to recognize my frustration in being in the background holding babies. I have a lot of opportunities right now, thanks to you and thanks to Mama Man. It was like, I'm grateful. I'm here. If you're not gonna use me, may I go? They were really kind about it. At first, it was scary for them, I think. I really, really leaned on Bill and Jean. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what do I do? Like this, like, you get what I mean, right? I'm in the background. I'm being brought to set and I have no lines. And I understand that we do that in an ensemble, but I'm doing it so often, more often than not. So then I didn't do the last season, but I did come back at the end. And it was just like, everything was so positive and loving. To this day, like running into Mark and Will, it's like, it's an appreciation, but it was also like a family. We were like, the Dropout. Theranos.
I thought it was Theranos.
No, Theranos. It's a mix between therapy and diagnosis.
Why not Theranosis?
Because the name is Theranos. Actually, can we cut that part about the name? The Dropout just dropped in my effing lap. It was the first time I had COVID too, so I was like getting such good news, and then I was like, I don't want to shoot in LA. My legs are sweaty. I have a fever. I gotta go to my agents on the phone. And then I called back like, I don't know, an hour later after the first episode of The Dropout, and I was like, yeah, sorry, no, I'm sorry about that. I need to take Advil. I'm really stressed out. So I was like pumping milk for my kid upstairs. It's like, if this is a dream come true, I'm obviously gonna do this. I love Michael Showalter. Liz Merriweather is a genius. This is like the best opportunity I've gotten into my adult life. Like as a mother, A, I'm playing someone from 17 to like mid-30s. B, it's like the number one on a show, which I've never done. C, it's a story that I was captivated by.
One thing that I'm always kind of curious about, if there was something in those deposition tapes that really, you're like, that's her. That's Elizabeth Holmes. Like, that's who she is.
Every time she drank her coffee, because you can't perform drinking coffee. I don't know how to describe it. It's just the way she drank her coffee, when she drank her coffee. You're drinking your coffee. There's no way to perform that. It's just like, you're hiding from something. She would swallow a certain way. Her visual discomfort was very palpable. Her different smiles. That was my treasure box. Every time I needed some help or guidance, I open up my computer and click on the 4 hours of the deposition right on my thumbnails, and the rest of it was in the World Book. Like, what a gift that is to have someone sitting there for hours and hours and hours. And in the deposition tape, it goes like one step further, where it's just like, you are under oath and there are lights on you that are not flattering at all. You're not in a good spot when you're in a deposition, most of the time. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like such a bizarre, weird thing for me to have to watch for hours and hours. But I couldn't take my eyes off of them, because I'm like, mimicking somebody is so weirdly indulgent and exciting, and that was my teacher. She was my teacher. Long Bright River. You think somebody killed her?
Not sure. No one in the right mind would inject themselves with that much insulin, but right mind is the operative term here.
Unless the other bodies were injected too. Are you gonna do an autopsy?
Wasn't planning on it. Both of them came in as accidental ODs. You know something I don't?
3 bodies discovered in 4 days. Similar demographics on the victims, and one of them might have been murdered.
If there's a bad batch of something out there, then these girls need to know what it is. If there isn't, then they need to know to watch their backs. And if I don't tell them. Long Ray River is a long, dark, dry land. Just kidding. It's hectic and it's energy sucking for the characters, the roles and the people that exist in this world. They're fictionalized, but this is just really happening all the time. It's just completely based in all reality, and which is a lovely way of telling stories, because unfortunately, like, a lot of people just don't know, and the more you know, the more you can do, hopefully be of service, or at least have compassion. And I'm like, playing this character who exists in this really dark place where she doesn't trust anybody for good reason, and she needs control. And the way she holds control is through keeping all the information. The person that she loves in her estrangement is her sister, and she doesn't have a mom anymore. She thinks her dad is gone. Her world is small, and she only has so much she can take control of, so she does. And her sister goes missing, and these sex workers are being killed, which, she can't even trust the cops to give a shit. And it's just really stressful. So, like, why? Of course, you just try to keep all the control that you can have. And in the way she raises her son as a single mom, and she doesn't have any friends, because that would mean giving pieces of yourself away, and that's just not safe to do. And it sucks, because that's a lot of people. But it did cost me to do that show. It cost me a lot. I've never been so aware of the intense pressure and responsibility of making this show good. It's never been so important that something resonate. This needed to feel less like a thriller and more like you're watching other people try to survive, and the only way to get people to relate to it is to tell their stories, or at least tell stories of people that they don't know about, and so they can empathize. And it's just like the struggle between, the studios and everybody wanting good television. Good television. It's like, what does good television mean? It could mean anything, different days for different people. It was like a huge responsibility of grounding every single moment that I had with Mickey and with Casey, and we have great actors in it, so it was easier to do. But it was dark and it was cold to shoot. My bones ached after the show, but I think the hardest part was being away from my kids and feeling that insulated within the show. The hours of working on a shoot, it's at least 14 hours, period, no matter what. It was just hard. It's hard. But I wouldn't have taken it if I didn't want to do it. I enjoyed, almost every minute on set. It's just a slog after a while. You're just telling these real stories. And we get to go home, we get to clean our hands of it and take a nap, wash our faces and take a shower and wake up the next day and have a good breakfast. And you're telling lots of stories about lots of people who can't. And that's always floating. That's the reality. And I'm sitting here, sitting pretty.